Welcome to Transit Talk, Human Design Transits, real talk in real time. I'm Kathy.
And I'm Jess. We meet up about every 6 days to explore the current human design transits and how they're actually showing up in our lives. And we'd love for you to join us.
We're talking energy in the moment, what we're feeling, what we're noticing, and what the transits are stirring up inside us and all around us.
So, whether you're joining us live or listening later, we're glad you're here.
Let's get into it. I didn't even look to see if we're actually live. Are we live? Okay, I'll look in the group in a minute. Anyway, it's a crazy world out there.
It's
And so, Jess, since you're representing the sun, why don't you tell us about that first?
the
Sunshine.
sun. Sunshine. I feel like not sunshine today. I am so tired. I feel like those delirious, and even my mic right now is like, everything's falling apart right now. We're in the crisis. I'm feeling it. Let's see. Where share
Oh,
screen.
don't share. We're just talking. Cuz you got to come back to me first, silly.
Oh, you gotta. Oh,
You
yes.
just got to tell about how you're representing it, and then I will tell how I'm representing it, and then you can share.
Yes.
Because
Thank
otherwise,
you for your yes. Thank you for your guidance. Jess
on the
took
replay, it doesn't even show our faces when you share. So,
I know. So I'm going on about 4 hours of sleep right now. So the mental functioning is very subpar. But yes, I am gate 6. This is not staying. Conflict. And so this is the gate of friction. And so this gate is known as like the gatekeeper. It's like, is this the thing that's going to come in? Am I going to have keeps falling intimacy? So we have the gate guard here. I even brought my sword. Oh, there's oh yeah.
and that's the problem with when we do backgrounds is we lose half of our everything, right? That's cool because gate six is, the one that decides what sets the emotional tone, right?
It either opens to emotional intimacy or not. Is it open or close? Yeah, I think it's referred to as the diaphragm or the closing. So I guess I'm closed right now.
Okay, and so I am representing gate 36, um, which is often known as crisis or conflict. And it's also this really turbulent shadow energy where we have this everything's a crisis and very nervousness. And when you think about the energy in the collective right now, that's really feels like it's a continuation almost of what's been going on, right? But what is cool about it is the key. In Gene Keys, we learn about the keys. They are the way forward from the shadow. And so the key is
Here, do you want me to
humanity.
share real quick? So you did say it's conflict. So gate 6 is conflict. It's the darkening of the light is gate 36.
Yeah,
So
you are
that
right. I'm
conflict.
sorry.
Yes.
The
Yeah. So
darkening of
those
the light.
come
Yes.
together.
And
Yeah. The
so, yes,
conflict,
there's
friction.
still, but there is a big difference because the darkening, thank you for pointing that out because I often get my words mixed up. But the darkening of the light is the I Ching name for it because, and that I always took me a little bit off guard. But what it is when we look at things so intensely, we can take something that is beautiful and make it dark, right?
Mhm.
And we can look at things so closely with so much scrutiny that we miss the light and we only
Mhm.
see the dark. And I
Yeah.
think
Also,
that's really happening a lot right now. And there is so much dark, but if all we do is talk about the dark, we lose the light. And so,
mm-hmm.
this is fine. It's my little background. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I've got this meme of the dog that's sitting in the kitchen that's on fire all around, and he's sitting looking at with his little coffee cup on the table, and it says, "This is fine," right? Um, and that can be a lot of what sometimes it feels like if we don't join into the conflict, if we don't right now, and we all know America especially, but social media particularly is on fire with all of this banter about things I don't even want to get into the specifics of on this, or at least not at this point. Um, but when we forget our humanity and we keep our heart closed, like you talk about the diaphragm, it's the diaphragm of the heart. If we cannot open our heart to the humanity in others. So for me, this is going to sound like something silly. it could feel like this is fine energy. But right now, I am so overwhelmed with what I have to do today. And right before I got on this call, I got a call saying something I was expecting to have happen while I'm at the HD conference that I was excited about happening is not happening. And I was so mad. I'd just gotten out of the shower. I literally took the towel off my head and just threw it on the ground. And I was like, right?
Yeah.
Really? And
Yeah.
so, I was rushing, trying to do all these things. And then I realized, this is often what we do is we just get so caught up in the dark that we forget that. And for me, it's simple little things. Sometimes I put on my lipstick and it makes me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I look in the mirror, I look happy, even
Yeah.
if I'm a little stressed inside. And I don't think that's fake. I think it's really, putting on my pink earrings instead of just this. You can't even see them because the back. I'm gonna have to turn off the background soon. Um, but the back. My earrings are so big they get muted by the background. But for
Mhm.
me, my earrings make me feel a little bit more cheerful, a little bit more human.
Mm,
And
mm,
when we can remember not only the humanness in us, but the humanity in the other person.
mhm,
And right now, what I feel like is happening is there's so much reactivity because there's so much emotional pain out there right now.
mm, mm,
So
mhm,
people are closing their hearts to other people's emotional pain because their pain feels different than that person's pain
mm,
feels different than my pain. So I have to close off my heart in a way that feels like I'm protecting. But all we're doing is creating more emotional noise. We're just
mhm,
negating the humanity of everyone right now in a way that feels just so icky, right?
mhm.
And I
Yeah.
feel
And,
like this could be our way forward.
yeah, absolutely. And that just brought up, I was just thinking that 59.6, that's the defense circuit as well.
Yeah.
It is, it's very defensive, which is interesting to see. Because I know I have the 59 defined. And so with the six activation right now, I'm feeling that whole channel of mating. And so right now I'm feeling that defined solar plexus. And so for me, the darkening of the light going through the gene keys, when he talks about how that turbulence is kind of like a dark night of the soul that we go through. So that darkening of the light to me has always kind of been that same kind of thing that you were saying, where it's just like you're going through this place where it does feel very dark, where you're leaning into that, but going and moving through that to get through that dark night of the soul, to get to that other side. To For the gene keys, it's that humanity and then compassion. And really just sitting with the reactivity, that word you wrote, you said that, my words, I'm like, you wrote that down, you said it and I wrote it down. So I can remember it. And that's really what it is right now, the reactivity with what's going on. And this comes back to a place of sourcing the safety within ourselves, finding this place where we know and feel the safety within us. So last night, I'm leaving today for Oslo. And when you're flying to Norway, you need a passport. So I was like, I'm going to put my passport on my desk. It was on my desk about 2 weeks ago. And I was like, I'll just go ahead, put the kids to bed. I was like, I'll get out the passport, put that aside. That's a big thing. Passport's not there, right? I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Where's my passport? Fast forward, I have pulled the office apart. I've pulled my room apart. I'm sneaking in the kids' room because the kids sometimes like to take things and they're like, oh, it's a journal. Let me take to play with it. And I'm looking
Right.
in their drawers. I'm, oh my God, where's my passport? 1:51 this morning, I find this passport, which is interesting because you were saying the transit shifted around 1 this morning.
Yeah, I think it was 105 or something like that.
Yeah. But what happened within me was really, really interesting because at first it was like, oh shit, I can't find my passport. If I can't find my passport, I can't go. And then this judgmental voice came and it was, oh, why weren't you ready? Why didn't you have this done? Da, 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 da. And I was, oh, okay, thank you. I hear that. But yeah. And I was this like deep inner trust landed that it was, this is happening for a reason. Just trust it, right? Just trust this experience, trust what you're going through. And as we're feeling this energy, especially with crisis right now, as you're feeling whatever the crisis is that's coming in, for me, that could have been a crisis, but I saw it and I said, okay, I'm trusting this. And I was, if it comes to the place where I'm not supposed to be in Oslo, I will trust that for whatever reason. If I'm not supposed to be there, okay. So as I'm searching and clearing my office, I found a little beanie. You know those beanies you heat up in the microwave, and it's got lavender and it helps you heal. So I have a dear friend in Oslo. And she was just saying how, her leg or something was hurting in the cold. And I was, this is the perfect thing. Plus, I'll snuggle it, fill it with love. So whenever it's hurting, you can feel some love. That thing was in my closet. As I'm searching for my passport, I found that. And I was like, I would have left this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But from the state of calm. And then I'm going through the paperwork on my desk. I found out the kids don't have school next Monday. That's really important. Why they don't have school? Hello, who knows, right? It's a holiday, it's a half day. And then the next day they have all really super important. So I added that to the schedule for my parents. And as I was going through this whole experience, it could have been a place where I was like, I can't find my passport and panic. And there was an underlying underneath of feeling, but being able to move through it from like a little bit more of a regulated place of, okay, everything's working out. And however this happens, it's going to happen correctly. And now looking back, yes, I'm tired, but I'm so grateful. These are both things that I really desperately needed. So just really encouraging everyone, as we're experiencing things right now, whatever's happening, just go, okay, I'm trusting the experience. Like it feels
Yeah,
like a crisis right now, and it can feel really real, but being able to move through that. And that reactivity is there's that choice, it's reactive or responding. And
right.
even if you are reacting, it's okay. This is, as you say, interesting. Look, I'm reacting to this thing versus coming from a place of responding. It's a different energy. So, really deeply looking at the energy this week, because this is 2 activations on the solar plexus. Are we ready to screen share?
Sure, you can do it now. Sorry. I just You were just so eager before. We had to make sure we explained um and so just to be clear, for those who weren't looking, I'm was very disheveled, and I just kind of straightened my hair and put on my lipstick and calmed myself down a little bit, and that made a big difference in how I felt.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What are those things that help you feel just a little bit more calm? Is it a CBD massage? Is it a lipstick? Is it an earring? Is it what is it, right? Especially during these times, so that you can find that calm moving through that crisis and conflict. So we've
Yeah.
got gate 6, which is our sun, gate 6 over here. And then just a reminder again that these gates are on the opposite side, right? On the opposite side of the mandala. And it's a polarizing energy. So gate 6 over here, gate 36 in our earth. So gate 6 is known as conflict, friction, and impact. Over here, we've got the hexagram. And so this is heaven over water. In the gene keys, it is conflict that moves into diplomacy, that moves to peace. And this is in the quarter of duality, which is the purpose fulfilled through bonding. We've got gate 36. And again, so both of them right here are in our solar plexus, our emotional solar plexus. So we're moving from that head energy, right, into the solar plexus, both of these here. And also noticing, do you have right here, do you already have this 35 defined? Do you have this 59? So I have this 59 defined. So feeling that activation right now. So gate 36 is the darkening of the light that moves to crisis, which is interesting. So crisis is the key here. No, that's not how that works at all. These are the words. My brain is not braining. Darkening of the light, also known as crisis, also known as exploration. That's quantum human design. It's known as exploration. So the movement for the gene keys, that's why I was like, that's interesting. I don't remember it being crisis, is turbulence, like we were speaking to before. And then the gift here is the humanity that moves to compassion. And we've got for the hexagram right here, it's the earth over fire. And this is quarter of initiation, which is the purpose fulfilled through the mind.
It's interesting too, because even though, so these, like you said, are on opposite sides of the mandala. So we talk about how they're opposing energies, but in a lot of ways, at the surface level, these could seem to be very similar energies because they're both emotional energy and they're both, crisis and conflict and turbulence and friction all sound very similar, right? But the the big thing is, how, like you said, this gate 6 energy is this opening. And in the Gene Keys, he talks about this as the pathway to peace.
Mhm.
which is really beautiful. And Chetan calls it conflict resolution. So rather than, and even the other one he calls crisis resolution, but it's this energy that is calling us to um, to not be so defensive, right? Because it's part of the defense circuit, but to be able to have an open heart, to be open to intimacy when it is safe. But we are often, when it is safe and correct for us, but we're often so afraid of it not being safe and correct that we shut down
Mhm.
before we even listen. Last week I was talking about listening with an open heart with that gate 22 energy. And so then this gate 36 energy is really calling us to ground in this adventurous emotional energy that's willing to kind of um, go through some kind of a little more turbulence, right? Like it's a little bit scary, but it's also a little bit exciting, right? This is that
Mhm.
really, this is this is solar plexus energy that points to the throat. It's manifesting energy. It's energy that makes things happen. And the solar plexus, we always talk about the emotions when we think of emotions, tends to think about happy, sad, that sort of thing. But this is the creativity center. This is where creativity happens, mutation happens. This is where humanity evolves,
Mm.
right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah. And that gate, 6-2 is here, let me share. Uh, for the transits. So gate 6 as well over here. So this is the source wave. So yeah, with that gate 6 is it's the one that creates all the different modes of that emotional awareness. So this
explain that for our people who might not be familiar with the idea of the source wave, because oftentimes it's just referred to as a tribal wave, but
Mhm.
it's the source of all the emotional waves.
All of the emotional waves. So all of these gates here on the solar plexus, they all have an emotional wave to them, and the source of all of them is contained specifically in this gate 6. Same thing over here, the gate 50 on the splenic center on the opposite side. And so this holds within it all the feelings, all the moods, all that sensitivity within that gate 6 that then is expressed through all of these other different gates. And, there's really this beautiful energy in this gate 6 where this I think the keynote of it is like growth comes through friction, and it's here to generate, it's here to make friction so that there can be resolution or not, and then to find that piece of like resonance that there can be intimacy, that the gate can open, right? That the doors open to this level of intimacy. And it's also incredibly interesting. So I have an undefined solar plexus, and it always makes me laugh when Ross spoke about how, if you meet someone who has a defined solar plexus and they're like, ooh, yeah, I like you. If you have like feeling good about you and having those feelings of intimacy, and you're undefined and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling this too. And you're feeling that intimacy. And he's like, wait, go through the conflict, go through the friction, right? See what happens. Like, yeah, they feel really good right now. They're on the high of their wave. Wait, see how they feel on their low. And you're experiencing them feeling these like intimate feelings. So a good thing to pay attention to.
Yeah, and if you're defined, I think the same could be said of like, this person feels good when they're amplifying your highs, but how are they when you are in your lows? Are they making it worse? Are they holding space for you? Do they have an open heart that allows your emotions to pass through them in a way that's holding space for you? Or are they holding up that wall that says, whoa, no, I don't like the way that feels, which makes you then feel worse, right? And unworthy. And it just, so like looking at those things always in your relationships. And that doesn't mean if it's not, ideal. I mean, the lows of an emotional wave are difficult for the person having it, and they're very difficult for the person who's experiencing it sometimes. So
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that there isn't, there's that whole hope to pain and back again, right? Like there's that when it all settles, just like we don't get married in the high, we don't get divorced in the low. We wait until we've gone through both, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, just with that energy, that sixth energy, that it is so conditioning, right? Because it's so deeply felt, because it's all of those. You're feeling them. And yeah, I just really want to, for a minute, send a lot of love to everyone with a defined emotional solar plexus, where people have been like, oh, you're great on your high, but then they're not there for you on your low. And just knowing that all parts of you are perfect, the high and the low, and that it's a perfect expression of you, and that it's finding those people that are there for you through all of that, through the high. They're there for the high, but they're also there for when there's the low.
Yeah. And
Let's
I just want to
see.
say I'm waiting patiently because I have to check in for my flight in a minute. I actually have
What, how much time do we have,
my
Chris?
alarm off so it doesn't make noise. I'm just watching the button to come live. If you want, I don't know if you've checked to see if anyone's saying anything in the group. I've had to
I'm
have,
in the group. No, nothing right now. I can see the group. So yeah, just kind of seeing, just taking a look right now. We've got so many different activations, especially down here in the root. Do you have any of the other gates on the other side? So we've still got our nodes in the 22 and the 47, but now with the 64 that's moved down here into the solar plexus, we don't have that full channel. How is that feeling for everybody who didn't have a defined maybe head before, or head and ajna, and now having the solar plexus? Are you defined emotionally now? Is something else defined as well? So my sacral is defined with the 59. So right now I'm feeling what is called the source wave, this 59-6, this channel of mating.
And just to clarify, I know this isn't what you meant, but when you say, are you defined? Because even though we feel this as definition, it's not,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our definition is our definition all the time.
Yes.
It doesn't change doesn't
Mm,
change based
mm,
on transits. It doesn't change based on, who's in aura with you. We
mm.
are meant to know and trust ourselves for who we are. And feeling this definition
Feeling, yes, thank
Another
you.
is another lesson in radical self-trust. Can
Yeah.
you trust who you are when you're feeling this different way? And
Mm-hmm.
can you use this different way of feeling to help move you in the path that you know your in your core is correct for you by honoring your own strategy, your own authority, your
Yes.
own way of being. So, because the transits are another form of conditioning, and sometimes people think conditioning is all bad. Conditioning is learning, right? It's how we learn about different things. It's how feeling other people's energy is learning. But when we confuse any of those things for who we are, that's when it gets in our way, right?
Yes.
When we
Yes.
start changing who we are because of those things. So,
Yes, thank you. That was a beautiful clarification. Absolutely. Feeling, yes, we're feeling the transits right now. Yes.
yeah. And speaking of feeling the transits, are we
Yes.
ready to
Yes.
do some cosmic weather?
Heck yes.
Everybody ready to see what's going on? Okay, I'm fine, doggy. Bye bye, doggy. Okay. All right. So now it's time for our weekly cosmic weather forecast, where we bring you the daily line by line flavor of the current transit. Think of this as your energetic weather report, complete with a high chance of feels and a low pressure system of wisdom just waiting to land. Each day, we're tuning into the specific energy of the lines as the sun and earth highlight them. So, special collective tone check. This week's forecast carries the emotional charge of conflict and turbulence, the shadows that can stir up intensity in the collective. Gate 6 sits in the defense circuit, which means this energy can show up as war when conflict dominates, or as intimacy when diplomacy opens the way. Within the same weather system, we find the keys of diplomacy and humanity, the pathway toward peace and compassion. The skies may be stormy, but the higher frequencies are always available to you. So, first we have Monday. We've got line one energy with the sun in retreat and the earth in resistance, a day for pulling back and finding your ground before emotions escalate. Shadow weather, emotional outbursts that drain resources, arguments online where no one wins. Gift forecast, wisdom in knowing when to step back, conserve energy, and let emotions cool. Line conditions, quiet tension, storms possible if provoked. Special weather alert. Mercury is also in gate 6, so words may land sharper than intended. Watch your tone. Tuesday, line 2, we've got the sun in the gorilla and the earth in support. A day of tactical moves and finding loyalty in tough times. Shadow weather. People popping in to stir things up, then ghosting, alliances breaking down from imbalance. Gift forecast. Quick course corrections, leaning into mutual support instead of lashing out. Line conditions. Spotty storms. Watch for sudden flare-ups, then clear skies. Special weather alert. Mars enters gate 50 in the evening, stirring up debates about values, justice, and collective responsibility. Oh boy. Wednesday, line 3, we've got the energy with the sun in allegiance and the earth in transition, a day where commitments shift and the old gives way to the new. Shadow weather, half-hearted agreements that dissolve under stress. Ghosted group chats, broken promises. Okay, gift forecast, clarity through trial and error, breaking out of old emotional habits. Line conditions, slippery, watch your footing, not all paths hold. From the deeply personal to the dynamically public, Jess, give us the scoop on the upper trigram and how the energy playing out, is it playing out across the bigger stage?
On Thursday, we've got line 4 energy with the sun in triumph and the earth in espionage, a day of emotional influence and private observation. The shadow weather, power plays and emotional dominance, forcing outcomes just to win. The gift forecast, using emotional presence to promote peace and wisely assess situations. Line conditions, foggy, high visibility for those tuned inward, low for those caught in drama. Friday, September 19th. On Friday, we've got line 5 energy with the sun in arbitration and the earth in the underground, a day for diplomacy and steadying the storm. The shadow weather, leaders trying to appear neutral while hiding their real agendas. The gift forecast, analytical calm and emotional clarity guiding practical solutions. Line conditions, breezy winds of change carrying whispers behind closed doors. Special weather alert, the moon conjuncts Venus in gate 29-6. Emotions around devotion and commitment feel extra intense. Saturday, we've got line 6 energy with the sun in the peacemaker and the earth in justice, a day for resolution and revealing truth. Shadow weather, people winning fights but sparking new ones in the process. Gift forecast, emotional integrity, paving the way for peace and fairness. Line conditions, clearing skies, storms finally breaking open with light pouring through. Special weather alert, we're approaching the solar eclipse on Sunday, on the 21st, the end of the eclipse portal and the start of a powerful new cycle. Expect intensity to peak. That's your cosmic weather, folks. There may be chaos in the weather, but you'll find clarity in your chart.
Thanks, Jess. Radical self-trust is still your best umbrella. Follow your strategy and authority and shine your light, my friends. Okay, if anybody is watching in the Facebook group who wants to pop in, I know Lisa is in here. Oh, it looks like we've got some people. Okay.
Jillian said, wow, it is Wednesday and Thursday that the DJT is coming to the UK.
I don't know what the DJ, oh, that, okay. I know what that is. You said the, so I was thinking Department of, and that's,
There is no the. My mind added a the. It says that DJT.
I gotta get rid of my background. There we go. Yeah, okay. Jillian's here. So, okay, so we've got Lisa is in here in Zoom and so is Jillian. I don't know if anybody else wants to pop on, but we'd love to, if anybody wants to chat on how this weather is feeling for you. I know last week, we had a lot of stuff that came up and I don't really want to in any way censor anyone, but I want to make sure I don't want to turn this into discussion of events so much as it is of feelings and how we're, if that makes sense. Because last week we had this energy of gate 47, this oppression, and then it was grounded in this gate 22, which, in the shadow, even the fear in gate 22 is that there's nothing worth listening to, right? And I think that played out big time. So anyway, Lisa says you don't have any of these gates and you're in bed. Uh-oh. Hope you feel better. And Jillian, how do you have either of the gates in the current transit?
I have 36 and I have the 36-35
Oh,
channel.
that's right. That's
So
your manifesting channel.
Anyway.
Pardon me?
I have a very chaotic life anyway. So.
It's the channel, it's the adventurous life.
It's a adventurous life, and I see the gift in it.
You're a 3-5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Say no more. Right? A 3 more with the 35-36. It's pretty much written in the stars for you to have this energy of adventure, which can feel chaotic at times, right? So how does it feel now with this additional layer? We've had so much gate 36 energy earlier this year, and we've had a little bit of a break from it. And now we get the sun in it, which is like the biggest blast of it. So how does it feel for you, Jillian?
Yeah, it wasn't, the transit hadn't happened, but I work on a telephone triage system. I worked Saturday evening and it was chaos, absolute chaos, all sorts of the strangest calls. So I've also got a lot of collective circuitry, and I'm actually quite upset at the moment I've actually stopped looking at social media by the division and hatred that is out there. It is really upsetting me. And I have stopped looking because there's people who I know who I am just surprised at what they're spurting out in terms of hatred and division. And I am a manifester, and there's a big part of me that wants to say to them, come on, give it a break, But yeah.
Well, I've had to stop myself from that because I feel the same way you do. And I think so many people, I don't mean to speak for people. So this is my feeling, and I feel there are probably others out there. I don't want to imply that I know how everybody feels. But there are a lot of people that are like, whoa, let's just settle down. And then when we try to say something that gives that message, people feel silenced. People feel like, hey, and it feels to me a lot when I am really, really upset emotionally as someone who's emotionally defined. And I have something that I just really need to say. And someone tells me, someone who's, probably in a lot of cases emotionally undefined, but not always. I know some people who are emotionally defined who will do the same thing and will be like, no, you can't talk to me like that. And I'm like, I am not talking to you like this. I'm just talking like this. I have to get this out of my body. And I thought you're someone who cares about me. This isn't about me doing anything to you. This is about you being present while I am saying, I'm mad as hell about this. I'm really upset. I have all this stuff that I need to get out. And then when someone says, well, but da da da, you shouldn't feel that way. You shouldn't say it that way. You shouldn't da da da. It feels like you don't have what I have to have. And the problem, I think, is we're using social media in a way that is way more intimate than it's meant to be. We're saying all these things because we feel we have to tell the whole world that this is how they should feel. And that's not our place. We can say, and then there's this feeling like, oh, if I don't speak out, then there's that whole thing where people talk about how in World War II, how did it all happen? Well, because good people said nothing. there's a difference between saying nothing when they come for your neighbors, right? I will be out there. I don't care who you are. I will be out there. But if something is happening somewhere where I will call a representative, I will vote, I will go to a protest, but to just proclaim outrage on social media all the time is not doing any good for my energy. And I'm here to shine my light. And I don't want to darken the light with this energy. I'm here not just to shine my light, but to help you shine your light. And this gate 36 energy is all about being able to do that. But yeah, that was a little
Yeah.
my soapbox.
I'm emotional authority, but my choice has been to just withdraw from it. And it's not because I don't care. It's just I find I've already got 36. I find it overwhelming that
Yeah.
chaos on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I honestly really appreciate that, because Kathy and I had a really great chat about this, because I was like, I feel like I need to say something, but knowing my inner response, there was no response there. There was like my heart response of sadness and wanting to do something, but there was no response to actually say anything anywhere. And it almost felt putting my energy there wasn't as useful. And so I sat and I was like, okay, what do I want to do? And the way I started looking at it was, I don't want to be on social media. There's so much here. And I was like, okay, but I'm going to add something. And what am I really deeply feeling in my heart right now that makes me feel so good? And that was Kathy and what she's done for my daughter. And I was like, I'm going to celebrate people. I'm going to share about hard things. My daughter, my 9-year-old, her anxiety, her process with that and moving through that, and how Kathy helps support that and what's happening with her for dance. And yes, it's hard, but the impact you can have in a beautiful way, because right now everyone's seeing a negative impact. And so for me, it just felt good to share that, and kind of take it from that way. But it was interesting at first, because I was like, no, I need to say something, in that feeling, like you were saying, this feeling I need to do something. And sometimes the not doing is just as important, and finding then your way to add, love to this whole situation.
Yeah. It's interesting actually, because I'm on leave this week. And it's leave I've had to take, to squeeze in. So I'm not going away. But I'm decluttering and deep cleaning my house. And today I've blitzed the kitchen, and I've really enjoyed it. So it's almost like I'm retreating from that chaos, additional chaos, to put my own world in order. Yeah.
That's beautiful, because that's what you shine out. What's happening inside of you is what you're shining out in the world. And you're like, I'm getting rid of and decluttering. And part of my process last night, trying to find my passport, I decluttered. I threw away like a full trash bag full of papers and random stuff and old readings from years ago, notes from readings. Why do I have these? So yeah, beautiful. And that's eclipse as well. Like with the moon, we just had, releasing what are we letting go of as we're stepping through this beautiful energy. And it's super interesting with I had a really good conversation with my friend Sabrina, who I met in Ibiza, and she is a left angle cross of the plane too. And so she has the 6 as her sun and the 36 as her earth. And I was like, what does it feel like? And she's like, my life is constant crisis. She's like, you get through the crisis and then there's another crisis. She's like, I just now know how to move through crisis, but there's always something evolving. There's always new friction, new crisis. So yeah.
I think it's interesting because I've had a lot of change in my life, and yes, I've had, my crises, so to speak. And I think my wider family have always looked and sort of probably behind closed doors nicknamed me Calamity Jane, like, oh, what's she up to now? She changed again. She moving house again.
Yeah.
When I learned my design, especially this 36, 35, and being a 3-5, it was like, well, you can think what you like, but it's all meant to be.
Yes.
And you're a manifester, so you're here to shake things up and
I'm still
change
here to
things,
tell
have
the
an impact.
yeah. But I think the family behind closed doors is, oh no, what's Gillian doing now?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us probably feel that that's probably what the family is saying, right?
Oh, I know my family says that. They're like, where are you traveling to now? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's funny because Jess is going to a human design event in Oslo, flying out today, and tomorrow I fly out to the High Desert Human Design Conference in Santa Fe. And so I don't know, we're hoping we kind of have it planned that we might do an early morning transit report with like her at the airport and me like in my Airbnb because it'll be like I think I figured out it'll be like 8 a.m. there, so we'll see what happens Saturday night. We might, I don't know. We've only missed one so far in the, this cycle that we've been doing, and that was when we were in Austin together. But, you know, we'll
I reached them because I'm new to this aspect, so I'm gaining such a lot from it. So yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad that's helpful.
I
Yeah.
listened to your replay on the variables as well.
Oh, yeah, in the group. So Jillian and I are in a coaching container together, and I was invited to do a little workshop in there about how your actual variable, not into the layers of it, but like the variable, how that works. So what were you saying? What were you gonna say about it?
I find it very insightful. And yes, I can identify with some of it. There's other stuff that I need to sort of experiment with a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, all of it is stuff for us to learn through. I'm still experimenting with everything in my design, right? So what is your variable, Jillian? Do you remember?
PRL, DRL.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I was just talking to someone else with that variable yesterday. We were talking about it. Or maybe it was, yeah, yesterday.
Inner vision, indirect digestion, which makes perfect sense because I'm never hungry till
Yeah.
Jaws, which fascinates me because is it okay to talk about this?
Yeah, sure. Talk about
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
I moved to the house 2 years ago, and this time last year, I thought, I don't want to live here anymore. And I don't know if you can see my room, but it's a converted warehouse and it's beautiful and it's so quirky, but it's got tiny little windows. Even though I'm in direct light, that's okay. But I can't look out of my window onto another environment. Because my kitchen is literally in the basement with two little eyebrow windows at the top of the ceiling. And it struck me that this is why I mean, I don't hate it by any stretch of the imagination, but I know it's just not the right house for me.
Yeah. And so
that's Albert.
Yeah,
so Albert, what do you want to tell us?
Albert
What have you got
wants
to tell us?
attention. I saw him like, what are you doing? Pay attention to me.
I want to tell you.
So yeah, the whole having the two. So for those who don't know, variable comes from deep layers in your chart underneath the layers of the gates and the lines, and it's not on all charts, but most of the advanced charts and the chart you get on my website will have these arrows. And so what Jillian's talking about are the direction of the arrows. So the personality side is referred to as P, so she's PRL, and then the design side is referred to as D, so she's DRL. So that means that the top arrow on each side is right. It's not going to work. You got to turn off the background. Right, and then the bottom arrow is left. So you've got this receptive, passive brain and mind that's meant to be in this active and focused environment, right? And so it's very easy for your environment to draw you into a strategic way of being that's really not how you're meant to be because that's just the way the world is built. So, noticing noticing just how that comes out for you is the best way to experiment with it, so.
Here, I'm going to just show this real quick. So we're going like, what? Anybody who's looking, just so you have an idea. So right here and right here. So this is the personality. So like my personality. So that's a left and a left. So I'm PLL. And then this is the design side over here. So I'm DRR, right. So it's these right here.
So her arrows both point in towards the body graph. And what's interesting is mine are the opposite. They both point out away from it. And
Yeah.
Ra says that the right really needs the left. And so I feel like that's part of what our beautiful
I
relationship.
need you.
I need you. And then also there's this dynamic between projectors and generators of the guiding of the energy type of thing that feels really aligned. But yeah, I've been really experimenting with how that operates differently. And it's so easy, especially, I have in our openness for us to make up stories of why there's something in us that's not correct because it's different. And so Jess has a defined head and ajna, and I have a completely open ajna and undefined head. And I can easily get myself caught into thinking and then doing similar to what Jess thinks and then does, right? If I let myself get away from that, I was talking about before, this like just core energy of knowing who I am.
Yeah.
And like using the gifts that you draw out of me, but not forgetting who I am in that whole process. Right? He agrees.
Yeah.
I have a completely open ajna, and I've got an open head with gates 64 and 63.
Yeah, I have just 64 is defined by Pluto.
So you've got before completion and after completion.
You've got both, Julian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's got a defined ajna, a defined will.
Who does?
A friend of mine, she's projecting
Okay.
defined ajna and defined will. And she cannot understand why I can't just make a plan and do it and execute it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that you can't. It's that it doesn't work. It's not how you're designed to be. And I think your variable has just as much to do with that because you're right brain, right mind. So it's meant for you to be just having things drawn out of you, in a way that if she were to understand it, she could probably be a very useful asset in you pulling those things out of you because it's not that you can't think that way. It's when you do it from a way that's coming from yourself, it becomes conditioned, it becomes forced, it becomes just not its true wisdom. And it's kind of like, I don't know if I'm sure you've been in this setting because I know the kind of work you do where you're just talking to someone and they just start talking about someone and somehow something that you had no idea you were going to say just comes out of you. And they're like, wow, thank you. That was amazing. Or, something to that effect. And, you're like, I don't even know where that came from. Right? I didn't even know I knew that.
I've also got 33 and 13.
So the channel of the alpha or the prodigal, not the alpha, the prodigal.
Life stories, unsolicited. So when I was much younger and I had a group of girlfriends and we would go on holidays together, and if there was not enough seats for us all on the row in the plane, they always used to say, well, you go and sit next to the strangers, Jill, because we can guarantee by the time we get to our destination, you'll know their full life story. And it was
right.
That's so funny. I wonder because I don't have the 13, I have the 33, and that's my personality earth. So I deeply feel the retreat energy, but somehow same thing. People like share the thing, the secrets. And I'm like, I am a safe person, but you might want to think about who you're telling this to.
Well, and I have the 13, so that's one of our electromagnetics too. I have the 13, and that's my conscious moon, and it's also both my Saturn gates. So, and both of those are not just about other people's stories they tell, but the stories you tell about yourself, right? Because it's connected to your identity center. And so I think right now, if we tell a healthy story about who we are, it can really help us to deal with this conflict and crisis kind of energy that's out there. And so I remind myself that I'm going to be okay. And I know that there are people who will say, well, yeah, but what about other people? I am certainly not someone who doesn't care about other people. I've learned the hard way, though, that other people have their own journey and their own way of finding their voice. And they certainly need support and, advocates and that sort of thing. But, I once in a job review in my late 20s was told, you're not the world police. You cannot save everyone, because I would never just fire somebody. I'd always have to have like this whole thing of how I was going to help them get their life back on track and do all these things first and all, and some of it I still am really proud that I did. Some of it might have been a little excessive, but yeah,
Finding that balance.
yeah.
Yeah. I just posted in the chat and I'll post in the group as well. The song I've been listening to like on repeat, even when I'm not actively listening, I'm programming my subconscious mind. It's called Everything Always Works.
Oh,
And it's a song that's like everything's always working out for me, even when it doesn't seem to be. And coming back to that story with the passport, where I was like, okay, I'm looking for my passport that I had on the table and it's gone. What is happening here? What is the message? What, and then going, oh my gosh, thankfully that happened. It wasn't a pleasant experience, but knowing it was working out for me completely and really,
yeah.
really, really trusting that,
I just mentioned that song to someone. I don't remember who it was.
I'm
So
obsessed.
maybe they'll listen and see it in the comments and they'll get it, because I'd never remembered to. I was like, I can't remember who sings it, but there's this song. And I was saying how I find myself kind of listening to that. So yeah, it's a great theme, like mantra theme song for radical self-trust. So
Yeah.
I know, Jess, you got to get to the airport. Don't you have to leave in like 30 minutes?
I have to pack.
What time's your flight?
So it got pushed back. I think
Oh,
the
okay.
latest it said was like 5. So I'm good.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm
So
good.
you're okay now, because we moved this up because you were going to have to leave like in the middle of it before.
At
So I was thinking, okay.
12:30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, she's going to have to leave in half an hour. You're very calm. I had to check in for my flight in the middle of this, but because mine's at
Yeah.
11:25 tomorrow.
I
So if anybody is in the Santa Fe area and is not already coming to the High Desert Human Design Conference,
yes.
I am going to put my link, my affiliate link, in the things, because I'll get a little something if you use my link. But just come anyway, even if you don't use my link, whatever. But I'll put my link in the comments. I just wanted to give that disclaimer that it is an affiliate link, because this is going to be such a great experience. Sorry, Jess. I know yours is going to
I
be a great
have so much
experience.
FOMO.
I
I have
know.
so much FOMO.
You're going to be in Oslo, and that's going to be amazing. And maybe there's someone listening who's in that area who will now come and join you there. But I'm just thinking more of our audience is likely to be able to come to HD. Although Jillian, you're in the UK, right? Where do you live?
I live in Shropshire, which is about halfway up on the left, next to Wales.
So you're definitely closer to Oslo than you are Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yeah.
There you
Hey,
go.
come to Oslo or come to Ibiza. So many things.
And a partner live in Oslo, live and work in Oslo.
Oh, nice.
There, Jess, I think they're on honeymoon now.
Yeah. Oh, fun, fun. I mean, even if you come to visit, right? If anybody's in Oslo and they're like, hey, I'm in Oslo or the area and you want to get like tea or something or whatever you do in Oslo.
And I don't think we've really talked about it much on Transit Talk, but Jess is one of the people who's organizing the Ibiza Human Design event towards the end of October. And so that's also something people can come to, that I have not just I haven't ruled it out. I have not gotten clarity about going. I feel like right now I want to run away from my home, but I'm feeling like maybe about that time, all the stuff that's making me crazy might be done, and I might really just want to hermit. So,
Yes.
anyway, I
I mean,
have a lot
Ibiza is
of
a
stuff.
beautiful place to hermit. Oh my gosh, the beaches.
Yeah.
I'm biased. I am so excited about Ibiza. So I'm the wrong
Yeah.
person to talk to because I'm
Okay.
like, yes.
All right, I'm going to sign off because I personally have a million things to do today. And
Yeah.
it was nice
Thank
seeing you, Jillian. Lisa, I hope you feel better, and peace out to anybody else who's watching.
Safe
Bye.
travels.
Bye.
Bye bye.